Greetings everyone and welcome back to Sanford Hardware. I'm Ed West and we're here today with Denny Sian, owner of Sanford Hardware. He's generously agreed to spend some time with us today to talk about his hardware, what we have to look forward to, and what's in the offering to come. Once again, Denny, thanks a million for doing this. We really appreciate it. First question on everybody's mind is when? When does the range open?
Soon. We're hoping mid to late May. Okay. Hopefully mid-May. But
don't have an exact date.
No, do not have an exact date yet.
I saw something interesting, I think, on your Facebook page. There's a lottery. Was there a lottery box?
Yes, there was. A lot of people were always asking us when we were going to open, so somebody decided to make it a fundraiser, so we did they can make a guess what day we're going to be open. Whoever comes closest to it, it's a 50-50. They'll get 50% of whatever the money we collected, and the other 50% will go toward the new parks.
Now, is that still going on? Can
Yep,
you still get in there?
Yep, you still get in. It's getting easier all the time for people, especially since I keep telling people mid-May maybe, but yep.
So is the box at
It's at the hardware. Yeah, it's a temporary hardware, which is just down the street.
And how much is it? You put in whatever you want?
Yeah, you put in whatever you want, but we just require $1.
So there's an opportunity to win the lottery right here in Sanford. Can you tell us about the process, the decision making that went into rebuilding, or?
Yes, right from the start, you probably saw downtown Sanford early on. It was devastating, and our hardware store was no exception. It was really devastated. We had actually 4 buildings, 3 of them tied together, which encompassed the main hardware store. They were all very old buildings. They were still standing, but a lot of damage, particularly to the inventory. A lot of the inventory was gone, but most of it was, destroyed, covered with mud. So it was really hard to save much of it. We saved what we could, but we lost most of it. But right from the start, from the first day we were able to get in, which was Thursday morning, we were just overwhelmed with people helping us. They were a lot of family, a lot of friends, a lot of customers, which are also our friends, and a lot of people we didn't even know. They could have been friends of people that were helping. Right then, I knew, and I'm sure most of my family did, that this is where we want to be. We could see how much the community appreciated us. We've always appreciated them. So we decided we wanted to come back. Financially, that was going to be difficult. We always had the option of borrowing the money. Turns out it's a tremendous amount of money to build a new store, more than probably I would have ever dreamed. But as you can see, we're getting a really nice building. Three Rivers is doing a wonderful job. They've built a structure here that I think we have a tornado. Everybody in Sanford ought to run and get in here, because I think it's well. We were given the opportunity right from the beginning to open up a temporary store. Mike Rudy, who's a really good customer, and he's a builder, had a building just down the street about a half a mile, and he had already emptied out. He's got 2 buildings. He'd emptied out one because he was thinking about selling it. And he just come down and give my son Adam the keys to it and said, use it as long as you want for whatever you want.
Really?
And in his mind, he was actually thinking, he was ahead of the game. He was thinking we could open up a temporary hardware. We were thinking more like a place for what we could save to go and clean it up, have it inside out of the weather. But fairly soon on, we decided that Mike's idea wasn't too bad, so we got with Do It Best Corp, who we're a member of, and they provide, we buy most of our hardware supplies from them, and asked them if they could design in this building just like an essential hardware is what we call it. can't, it's a lot smaller than what we had. It's about a third the size, a little less. I'm talking about the temporary.
Right.
The temporary one, yeah. It's only, the total building is only about 3,000 square feet. We had approximately 8,700 in our old.
Right.
So what we did with Do It Best Help, we crammed in what we thought we really needed as essential to the community, electrical, plumbing, fasteners, basic hardware, a little bit of cleaning supplies, things like that, a little bit of lawn and garden, but tried to have a little bit of everything that we thought was essential. And that has helped us stay in business, and it's kept us right in touch with the community. They've supported us. It's just unbelievable how well this community has supported us. They, right from the get-go, before we were even open there, our customers were going all the way to our second location in Clare, which is 20 miles away. Every time I went to Clare, I saw Sanford customers. Kid you not, every time there were Sanford customers there. So that's how much they supported us. They drove 20 miles instead of 10 to go to Midland. Then once we got open, they support us there, and seeing as we can't have everything, it's too small a location. They, for the most part, they'll say, "Hey, can you get it from the Clare store?" We always offer that. We have people going back and forth all the time, so we bring a lot of our products for customers, from the Clare store. So right from the get-go, we knew we wanted to be in this community. We were offered an incentive to start back up a little sooner. We were offered a sum of money, like startup money, and the only criteria was that we needed to start as soon as we could. Let Three Rivers be our general contractor. Three Rivers put out the whole project to bids. They bid some of it, they got some of it, like all this steel, they got that, and they're doing quite a bit on the project. But they're the general, but they're also doing some of the project too. But and the other criteria was that the money that we were basically to be gifted, because as long as we kept the store for 2 years, they would forgive that. It's set up as a loan, but they'll forgive that startup money. And that really helps, because when you're going to the bank, we've got a pretty good reputation at the bank, but they still would like 20% down.
Right.
And with this gifted money, and also money that was gifted from friends and customers through fundraisers, we're able to more than meet that 20%. So it made it a lot easier for us when we went to the bank to get a loan. And Isabella Bank is the bank that I'm using. I've used them for a long time. They've been a wonderful bank, and I'm sure they would have made it happen either way, but it was really helpful to have that. Bill Schutte was really involved in it. He come and met with us, along with Three Rivers Park. So I was never given, and I probably should ask, but I don't know if they really want it known, but I think a lot of people helped us out. And they didn't just help us, they helped some other businesses and some homes. They're just trying to, like Bill Schutte said, he said, everybody's talking and planning, but nobody's doing anything. And he just wanted to get something started in Sanford to show that it was going to be rebuilt. And that was one of the things that early on when I said I was coming back, I was hoping it would give some other people, some incentive, to come back if they knew we were probably one of the biggest draws in Sanford as far as customer count.
Right.
And if we can come back and draw those customers back, maybe it's going to be easier for other businesses to survive too. They do. I tell you, I've got really good employees. I really do. And we wouldn't be here without them. They're, like right now, we've got, people working extra hard because we're trying to keep 2 hardwares going. Like my son in Clare, he's pretty much been on his own because we've been so busy here. So he's working extra. You don't ever hear a peep from him. 2 of my kids, Christine and Adam, work here, and they're just working overtime trying to get ready for this project. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with, designing the layout of the store, and the biggest thing is the products that are going in here. It's not like you just say, do it best, okay, fill it up. They do that, but we know better than anybody what we sell, and you know, computers help us, but you look at every 4-foot section and decide what's going to be on it. So a lot of hours going into that. I have a daughter that doesn't work for me, and she's been putting a lot of hours in. She lives in Rockford, and she's helping with computer things with inventory. So, you know, and I like to think that our community is special, and I think it is. I think there's probably a lot of communities like us that if this would have happened to them, they would have come around too, and hopefully we would have been ones to help them too. But this is a really good community. The people are wonderful, and right from day one, people would walk up and give us money. You know, just hand you money and say, we know you're going to need help. You know, first day, you know, I just couldn't believe it. You know, cheers, and so I've always tried to treat people the way I would want to be treated. And I've had customers. I had one guy walk in not too long ago, and he gave me $1,000, and he said, I just want my hardware back. And you know, he said, you probably don't remember, but there was a night just before Thanksgiving, quite a few years ago, where I stayed and helped him cut pipe and stuff so he could get some things going at his house for Thanksgiving, and he had a bunch of relations coming over. You know, it's nice to think that they don't forget you. Yeah, I had forgot it, but you know, he didn't.
But there's almost a family orientation to the whole operation. That's the feeling.
There is.
That comes through.
Most of our customers we know by name. If we don't know them by name, we know their face and we know their friends and customers. But there's so many we don't. You know, at least with me, I can't remember everybody's name. But yep, we do. We try to treat people like family, and they treat us like family too. They really do.
So there was never any point along the way there was a question about rebuilding. You always knew.
No, I always knew I was going to rebuild. There was a point for about 2 weeks when we thought it was going to be too difficult to build here because of floodplain issues. FEMA had raised the floodplain without actually advertising it before the flood. It wasn't something they did after the flood. They had raised it before the flood. For some reason, they think that they don't have to publish that, but they didn't. And so when we were ready to build, we thought we knew the level we were going to have to build, which we were going to have to raise it. But then all of a sudden, it was 1.5 feet more. And 1.5 feet doesn't seem like much, but when you're on a main street that you can't change the road level, it adds a couple more steps, and it makes it difficult for people to get in. You know, a lot of my clientele are older, and the harder you make it for them to get into the store, you may lose a few. So we were really worried, but the village went to bat for us, and a lot of other people, and we challenged the floodplain elevation, and they lowered it back down, not to where it was, but they lowered it like a foot, and that was enough where we decided that we would still build here.
So one thing I was wondering about is, it seems to me there's a long family history in the hardware business here. Is that true?
Well, with my family there is. I've been in the hardware business for, like, say, 46 years. And all of my children have worked for me. My dad wasn't. There wasn't anybody else in my family. My sister worked for me for quite a while. But my family has been really involved. My wife actually had a job at the schools, the Midland schools, but she took a job there she was a stay-at-home mom, and then she took a job so that she could work and make some money to help us out, but she wanted to be off at the same time as our kids were. So she actually was a parapro at the elementary school they went to school at, and then later she was lucky enough to get a job at Dow for probably 12 years, and now she works for us. She kind of retired and was spending a lot of time with grandkids, helping out with watching grandkids, but she's actually been working with us now pretty hard, behind the scenes mostly, but sometimes in the store. But three of my children do work for me. They will be taking over both of the stores eventually. Whenever I decide to just walk away, they can do it today. They're fully capable of it. But I'm going to stick around a while.
See the fruits of your labor here.
Well, yeah. I really enjoy the hardware business, but I do look forward to having a little more time off, and my wife and I maybe can get out and do a few other things, travel a little bit maybe.
I saw an interesting story on your Facebook page about, is it dry shod boots?
Yeah.
Can you tell us briefly about what that is?
Well, we've never sold dry shod boots in this store, but we sell them in our Clare store. Our Clare store is actually a little bit bigger than our Sanford store was, so we have a little more inventory there, and so they've been doing very well with the dry shod boots. And my daughter, I just saw the display she built for them. My daughter is a really good woodworker, and she's been, along with other things, she's been building, like our checkout cabinet is going to go there. Mm-hmm. She probably saved us $8,000 by building it, and I'll bet it's better than the ones we would have bought. They're just beautiful. And she did just build a display for the dry shod boots, which will probably be right in here somewhere. We have a lot of open area in here when you walk in that we'll put displays. We'll probably keep moving different displays in so people see something different all the time. But she just built that, and she built that out of lumber that came out of the store that had been flooded. We saved, my son and I, when we were, the last few days we had before we tore down, we decided to take some wood out that we thought was salvageable, and she turned that into a dry shod display.
Looking back on the last 10 months, the experience of the whole thing, is there anything that stands out in your mind?
Oh, mainly how our family and community come together, to help each other. We were fortunate enough as a family, we didn't lose any homes. My son, Adam, lives on the Salt River, so he had a finished basement that was pretty much destroyed with, I think, 4 feet of water he had. But the way people come around to help each other and it's still happening. So that's the most important thing. And we'll come back. Not everybody will, of course. Some people found it just they couldn't do it financially or for other reasons, and you can't fault them. Sometimes you just can't. It just isn't meant to be. But we'll come back, and hopefully we'll be stronger than ever. And now we'll have a building that my kids can probably finish out their careers in if they choose to, and not have to worry about the roof leaking and other major repairs, because this looks like it's a 100-year building here.
And I know we all can't wait to step in here on your opening day.
I sure can't. We just can't wait to have some extra room. We're really grateful to Mike Rudy for giving us the small location that he did, but it's just so small, it's really difficult.
Sure.
We just weren't used to telling people all the time that, we can have it for you tomorrow. We just had it. We most of the time had what they needed, and so we want to go back to those times.
Won't be long.
Won't be long. No.
So, Denny, thank you again so much for this interview.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. And thanks for everything you're doing to show people.
Oh, it's a labor of love all the way around. So, if you have comments, please feel free to leave them on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel. Our email for Sanford Hart you'll see on the screen. And we'll look forward to seeing you soon for another interview with the Heart of Sanford.